Los Angeles, California. City of dreams, city of angels. But right on the edge of the shimmering skyline is LA's infamous Skid Row. There is a growing population here, homeless veterans of American wars. And today, more and more of the homeless vets are women. California leads in numbers, pointing to a nationwide crisis. Hundreds of thousands of women who serve in the US military returned home with post-traumatic stress disorder, addiction, and military sexual trauma, known as MST. For them, the war continues, in silence, and often alone.
Maybe in this test, there are some lessons to be learned for everybody else. The only reason God is allowing it to happen to you is because He knows you can handle it.
Renee Benton grew up in the suburbs of LA. Her parents were middle class and strict. At age 22, Renee joined the Air Force. During her 4 years in the military, Renee says she was sexually assaulted. After a slow and gradual spiral into drugs, Renee ended up on Skid Row. For more than a decade, she was homeless, addicted to crack cocaine.
I just sat tight. I let God handle it.
I haven't been to Skid Row in 9 years, and just to go back down there, I've never had a reason to. But my prayer is to go back will help me to be able to understand where I've been and where I am now.
There are 1.8 million women vets in the US today. In recent years, the number of homeless women vets has more than doubled, making women veterans the fastest growing segment of the homeless population in the United States. How has this happened? This is their story.
We're going to be venturing into the war zone, you know, where it all kind of went wrong for me. I actually spent 10 to 12 years right here. I would go, there's a liquor store around the corner, that's where I'd get my daily beer, and I'd search these four corners of 5th and Main to see who was going to have the best dope that day and who I could get the best deal with.
Skid Row is unforgiving. Dealers and gangs rule the streets. Violence is no stranger here.
I've actually seen people thrown out. I've seen a lady thrown out of, I don't know what floor she came from, landed in the middle of the street. Word was they didn't pay the dealer and the dealer took action. How you doing?
How you doing, girl?
I'm good, I'm good.
Where you at now?
Renee did what she had to do to feed her habit and survive on the street.
I'm great.
All right.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So actually, that was one of my tricks.
Renee finally found her way to the VA. She enrolled in rehab. She's been clean for 9 years.
Your sponsor has to have working knowledge of whatever book you're going into is what I'm saying.
Can you have more than one sponsor?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to work on
Today,
life skills,
Renee runs the very same
and
treatment center that helped her get back on her feet.
If someone is constantly giving to you, you're never going to break that cycle.
New Directions Women's program is supported by the Department of Veterans Affairs. It's the first in the US designed specifically for women veterans recovering from homelessness and addiction.
Okay, you know what I actually want you to do? I want you
Renee not only directs the program, she counsels women in crisis, drawing upon her own experiences.
So you're sounding like something has clicked that's like, maybe I do need to hang out here a little bit longer.
But as Renee admits, the first challenge can be the hardest.
So what's your preference for treatment?
Finding the women veterans who need help.
Hello?
In LA and around the country, census reports count the homeless population.
Every bridge has a person up under except for Willow.
Data such as gender, race, and mental illness is collected.
I'm just gonna let her die, that's what I was gonna do.
No, we're not gonna let you die. Like, we're gonna get you off the street.
According to numerous government reports, last year, the number of homeless women veterans more than doubled. Today, more than 3,000 are living on the street.
Do either of you two know any female veterans?
Now, would you?
Female veterans?
I'm a veteran from the ghetto.
Yet after several days surveying the greater Los Angeles area, these outreach workers found none.
You're not a vet, are you?
It is the million-dollar question. Where are the female vets? You know, everybody is looking for them. Programs to provide female vets with services. They all have open beds, so to speak. So when you come to these places and you begin to look for them, it's almost like they're in hiding.
But Renee knows they're out there, and she, like others who run programs to help homeless vets, know exactly why these women stay invisible.
The issues that female veterans who are homeless struggle with are the same issues that women who are homeless struggle with in general. Young females on the street who are homeless, they're targeted. The homelessness world is not a safe world, so females, by design and out of survival need, have to sort of remain in the shadows and unseen.
I kept myself secluded. I would try to blend in with the other homeless people. It was just very frightening. You know, I'm so glad that I survived it.
After several months of homelessness, Corey reached out to the VA. She grew up in Compton, California. When Corey turned 18, she joined the Air Force. She was deployed to Saudi Arabia, where she provided armed security on the air base.
I had 3 weapons, which I carried the M16, M9, M203, and also the 60 machine gun. The weapons were put back after I went back home. I missed those weapons.
After military service, Corey returned to Compton. Things started to fall apart.
I wasn't able to adjust to civilian life. It was just too hard for me. I would wear my uniform like a blanket, like a security, not knowing where the next meal was going to come from. It makes one very emotional. It's sad. That's a sad life.
They may have some very, very highly skilled expertise in the military, but oftentimes it is not transferable to the commercial job market. I couldn't imagine how difficult it is to fix a tank, but if that's the only thing I know how to do, it's going to be hard for me to find a job, especially if I went into the military when I was 18, right out of high school. So a soldier will process out of the military formally if they've had no strong support network with family or spouse or friends. It's very quickly that they're going to be in severe financial trouble. They get behind on rent and a couple of bills, and the next thing you know, they're under an immediate crush of deciding whether or not to empty what little savings they have or to cut bait and do what many of them believe will be a short-term stint of homelessness while they regroup and get themselves together. That short-term stint is quicksand.
I think there was very few, very small factors that could have led me in either direction. I had the possibility of being there. I was already drinking a lot. I was already running out of money. I wasn't doing anything but sleeping and sorry. I could see how it's easy to get there.
Mayra is the daughter of Mexican immigrants. She joined the Marines against her family's wishes. Mayra served in a combat unit in Iraq. Like many others, she returned home with PTSD.
I felt lost. Like I felt like this wasn't the life that I wanted to come back to. This wasn't the life that I left. So why is this the life that I came back to? And then I think being a woman, I always felt like, well, the guys don't have to go through it. The only reason I'm going through this is because I'm a woman, and that just proves, you know, that we shouldn't be in the military, and I can't live up to those expectations, and you know, like of course she's gonna go get help. She's a woman, she needs to get help. It took me about a year to start getting help.
This program is going to force you to be responsible, or you're going to choose not to be. It's all your choice. But as much as you can get taken care of here will send you back into society with less of a headache.
Once women veterans enroll in Renee's program, the process of healing can begin.
All of this is in your control, but it's patience, and it's just constantly chipping away and chipping away.
These days, women are entering Renee's program with more than addiction and PTSD. Many come with trauma the military has only recently acknowledged.
We call it MST, military sexual trauma.
Cassandra grew up in New Orleans. She watched her friends get pregnant one by one. That was not the life she wanted. 30 years ago, the army was her ticket out. Sexual assault in the military is not a recent phenomenon. While stationed abroad, Cassandra believes she was date raped by 2 fellow soldiers who slipped something into her drink one night.
I woke up the next day with 2 guys in the bed, and I'm in the middle, and then here's a sergeant in the room, you know, hollering at me because I was just what's going on. But I got reprimanded and had to shovel snow, you know, in the winter time, had privileges and some of my money taken behind just something that I really didn't know about, but it gave me a different outlook of the military at that point, because who can I really tell?
There's such a huge stigma on reporting, not just because of the event itself that a woman has experienced and to have to talk about that violation, but also, you know, more than 50% of the time, the person that they are reporting on is their immediate superior. So there's so much weight against reporting the event, and then if they do, they are reporting into a system that has its own insular structure of justice.
My supervisor, he felt like he could take advantage of me because I was young. At times he would come by and he would have sex with me while we would be out on the dunes. I held all that inside for years until I came to this place and I was able to finally get out some of the things that had been done to me.
For a lot of women, the service is not safe. If you send somebody over to Afghanistan and Iraq, which isn't a safe place, at least they should be safe on the other side of the wire, where they are, you know, we're in the green zone, so to speak. They should be able to be safe there, that nobody's going to harm them. But they get harmed there too, and that's not fair.
The VA confirms that 1 in 5 women veterans have experienced military sexual trauma. The Pentagon puts that number at 1 in 3 women. but many in the field insist the toll is even higher.
About 75% of those clients that we see have experienced a military sexual trauma.
Who are you going to tell? I'm 17 years old. I'm actually 18 at the time. I'm in Germany. Not too many other girls around.
Lauren has been in the transitional program for 3 months. She says that for years, she was sexually assaulted by her supervisor. Time passed, but the trauma remained. Little by little, she unraveled until she wound up on Skid Row. Becoming homeless doesn't happen overnight. It's gradual. A woman exhausts her resources. She turns to drugs to numb the pain. She was abused in the military. Now, she's preyed upon on the streets, until she no longer thinks of herself as someone who served her country, only as an addict, lost.
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and you're walking the streets, either trying to get money or find dough. You didn't have to go to sleep. Time didn't mean anything to you. All that mattered was getting your drug and staying high for as long as you could on a daily basis, year-round. That was my life, and I was okay with that. I used to sit here, pipe and lighter in pocket. This was always a quiet street. It still seems to be quiet in nature. Not too much traffic, but behind us is the police parking lot.
For years, Renee was invisible on Skid Row, and she knows time is critical for women vets who end up homeless. The sooner a vet gets off the street, the higher the chances of steering her away from deeper trauma.
This is not how I picture myself being. My family doesn't know. If you told my family this is what's going on with me, they'll be shocked, because this is not, I always seem to have it, everything in control.
Kiesa joined the US Navy to pay for school. After 11 years in the military, she returned home with PTSD. Kiesa couldn't find a job. She slept in her car, hiding the truth from her family.
I guess I could say it's a pride thing. I'm used to taking care of myself, and I don't want them to feel like I'm a failure. And I don't want to feel like they have to take care of me, because I don't want to put that burden on them. That's why.
Kiesa was homeless for 1 month. She found help at a vet program early enough to avoid addiction and abuse. But initially, she thought she had no one to turn to.
Tell me, talk to me. Disagree with me. Tell me I'm not hearing you.
No,
And this is a common thread in the stories of homeless women vets. Many don't even realize they qualify for VA services.
I've been out of the military for nearly 10 years, like 9 years. And it's like, I'm not a veteran. I'm a young female. Young females aren't veterans. Those are old men, so I struggled for a long time. I'm not a veteran. I don't deserve, this and that.
It's absolutely none of your business what anybody else thinks about you. I never looked at myself as a vet, right? Even though I did 4 years, completed, got the honorable, I didn't think of myself as a vet. In the beginning, I'm just like you. Worried about this, judging what they saying, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop.
That's what this place is really beautiful for, it's that I did serve my country, and I am a veteran. They're telling me, like, you deserve this.
I was 18 years old, ready to go about life.
I joined the Marine Corps in particular because I wanted to be part of something unique and something that everybody looked up to and respected.
My mom was of the old school, you're out after high school, and I tried to get a job, couldn't get a job, and I didn't want to be homeless.
I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, from the 9th Ward, the Desire Projects. my expectations of going was to have fun and grow and learn and do, you know, some different things I hadn't done outside of the ghetto.
When I ask people, why'd you join the service? Most people say to get away from my neighborhood. Or I had no prospects. I had no job. I had no money. And I had no place to go. So I joined the service.
Renee joined the armed forces to leave home, to serve her country, to be independent. Skid Row interrupted those dreams.
When I was here and living here, I only felt a part of the world of addiction. But now I feel like, wow, I'm a regular person with heavy quotations on that. This visit is a turning point for me. It's what I needed to experience, just to see, one, I don't fit in here. Two, I'm not welcome here. But three, I'm a person who made it out. Wow. This is cool. This is cool. It's exciting.
A lot of successful people have horrible stories, horrible beginnings, you know. So I told myself this could be a phase, my horrible story. Maybe one day I can have a better story to tell all the people that feel like there's no way out, there's no hope or whatever.
And each woman's story opens the door for others who've been silent for years, fighting a war within.
Just keep looking up, girls.
I'm here in my concrete hair, feels just like a shell hanging over me. I'm here in my concrete hair, it feels just like a shell hanging over me.
Three weeks after the filming of this documentary, Renee Benton was diagnosed with inoperable brain cancer. The legacy and courage of her work continue to live on through the women veterans Renee has helped.